Welcome back to Pure Oxygen. Well, much of a woman's femininity is tied to her ability to mother children. So who are we if we decide not to have kids? Well, the answer is not alone. 42% of American women are childless, and this statistic is helping to reshape the very definition of womanhood in our family-oriented culture. Here to discuss this trend are Madeline Kane, author of The Childless Revolution, and two people who have chosen not to have kids, Iris Springer and Jared Skolnick, right? Yes. Who are in separate relationships, we should note that. So you guys are not together. All right, so your significant others could not be here today. But anyway, Madeline, let me start with you. You wrote this book, you interviewed 125 women, right?
In depth, yes.
In depth. So you found out a lot of information about what's happening here, the trend towards childlessness. What's going on? What did you find out?
Well, women have evolved. Our roles have changed over the years as we've gotten into the workplace. So more and more women are winding up, I discovered, childless. It's not necessarily a choice with a lot of them. And yet, even though we talk about women having choice, if the choice is really when you're going to have children as opposed to do you wish to or not, we're kind of limiting what that choice really is in essence. And I think what we have to start to do is acknowledge that women have the right to make a choice to be childless.
Well, that seems to be the difference, because it seems like you said, most women say, well, eventually I'll get around to it.
Right.
And people just take that as, okay, that's a good excuse for now.
Right.
But if you say, oh, no, I am choosing not to have children ever, that's when people look at you like you're a freak.
Right, exactly. Well, you're kind of looked at as a second-class citizen. To be childless is not quite as approved of in the society that we're in today.
Right, right. Well, Iris, you are 33, right?
Yes.
You have a boyfriend.
Yes.
But you have chosen to be child-free, right?
I think that my decision was not as much as a conscious decision as I ended up that way. Right out of college, I went to law school, and then after law school, I got a good job, and I'm working, and so I kind of put my career first. But I mean, I love children. They just don't fit. I don't see where they fit in exactly.
Ever in your life?
Maybe one day, but like I'm 33, so I almost have a cutoff point for myself, somewhere around 36 or so. If I don't have at least my first child,
I think
it
Iris
would be okay.
Yeah, Iris is like a lot of women that I interviewed, and what's happening is women are evolving into childlessness. It's not something that a lot have chosen. In fact, the minority have actively chosen it. More women are evolving into it. It's where they wind up.
But there's so many assumptions that people make about people like that, right? Like you're cold-hearted, you don't like kids, selfish, you know, you just don't want to be bothered because you have your own life and you can't care for anything else.
Right, or you're some kind of superimposed independent woman who doesn't have time to do anything other than be career-oriented.
Exactly, exactly. But we should say that, you know, just because you're not you're childless, you do. Yeah, child-free. Child-free. Okay, that's a better word to say. More PC, I guess. You do have a baby.
Yes, I do have a baby. I brought a picture.
A big picture, might I say.
His name is Choppy, and he is the king. He's the king. So I absolutely adore him, and I mean, I guess he's a good substitution.
Right, right.
Yes.
Some responsibility there, right?
Definitely.
Okay, well, Jared, I'm going to bring you into this because you, from a male point of view, you know, obviously you don't have the biological clock ticking or anything like that, but you and your girlfriend?
My wife.
Your wife of how many years
5
now?
years.
5 years. Decided that you don't want to have kids.
Right. Well, as the other example, my wife has known all her life. She said as a child she knew she never wanted to like play house, play with dolls. She never wanted to have kids. She always knew that was the life for her. And when we were friends in high school and college before we dated, she once said to me about not having kids. We were probably 18, 19 at the time, and my response was, "You can do that?" Like, I had no idea. I never thought about it in any other way. So that was the first time I started to think about it. And as I matured a little bit more, I realized that parenting is an enormous decision. People should make the decision, but that's exactly the point. They should make a decision that it's something they want to commit a majority of their life to or not, and it's something I just don't think I could do.
But do people still say to you, though, oh, but you got time, I'm sure you're going to change your mind eventually, things like that, and so how do you feel about that? Do you think in time that maybe you'll both change your minds?
I always feel like there could be a chance, sure. I don't think anything's ever certain, but I feel fairly certain, and as does Tracy, we've discussed it a lot. And when people say that, you know, you're selfish for not having children, my first response is, isn't it selfish to have unwanted children? People that have children and then can't take care of them properly because they realize 5 years later that I shouldn't have done this.
But I think it's also, you can say, I had a daughter, and that was my choice, and something
Which I find
wished to
interesting
do.
because you did write this book when, you know, about being child-free,
right?
But then you ended up having
I had the child, and then I wrote the book.
Oh, you wrote the book after?
Way
I
after.
see.
Because I was childless until I was almost 40. And people made assumptions about why I was childless and assumed that there was a self-centeredness or a career orientation. And nothing could be further from the truth. It was just something that hadn't happened yet. And I think what offended me is that my childless friends, once I had a child, I was suddenly approved of by society. And my childless friends was still treated like second-class citizens. And I thought, gee, I know these people. These are nice people. They're loving people. Why are they treated, why is their choice treated differently than mine? And my having a child was selfish on my part. It was something I wished to do. So I think selfishness can be, you know, misconstrued.
Yeah, because Jared, I know that, you know, you and your wife do a lot of volunteer work and things like that to sort of really use your time well, I guess.
And my wife has chosen a career in education, and she works in higher education, so she's not necessarily nurturing children, but she's like, this is my contribution to making sure that as people mature, they have what they need, and I'm contributing more in that fashion than to the 1 or 2 or 3 children that I wouldn't really care for the same if I had them of my own.
The majority of the women I interviewed were very like Jared's wife, who were very involved in children in different forms. They were nurses, they were therapists, they were giving and nurturing in that way, but not everyone has to nurture.
And have their own
It's
child.
not, yes, but and you don't have to nurture by having a child.
Absolutely. I mean, I am the best auntie in the world. I mean, I have, my older sister has 4 children, my younger sister has 1 and 1 on the way, and I have godchildren, and I'm absolutely the best one, the favorite one. So how could I be selfish? I mean, I always have them, and they have a great time with me, and I think I would be a good mother if I ever, you know, took the opportunity to be one. But I'm certainly not selfish.
Well, one last question to both of you. A lot of people think, you know, it's fine now when you're young and you're active and you can do all these things with your partner. But what about when you get old? You know, people always fear you're going to be alone. You're not going to have any family around you, and it's going to be a miserable way to, like, end your life.
Should you have children to make sure that they're there to take care of you or see you when you're older? I think that's selfish.
I agree.
It's also something you can't rely on. Children move. They go away.
That doesn't just because you have kids doesn't necessarily mean they'll be there for you always,
and
right?
Tracy and I constantly entertain the thought of, you know, when we get to the point of retirement, and she feels like she never wants to retire, we want to go open a bed and breakfast or go open a vineyard and do something that you can do for the rest of your life that allows that opportunity, and you'll be around people constantly.
Right. Okay, well, you know what? We have to end it there, so thank you so much for coming on the show. Thanks a lot. All right. Up next, a performance from Sean Tooth, Linda Eder. If you're watching Pure Oxygen, don't go away.